Good morning, my friends. My name is Lama Jigme, and I'm joined here by my feline overlord to present you with Enlightened Fitness, where first we'll use high-intensity body-weight interval training to cultivate the body of a tantric sex god. Then we'll use guided meditation to cultivate both the heart and the mind of a Buddha. Now, what Basement Cat wanted me to tell you was an interesting story. Yesterday I was conversing with a very intelligent scientist who's used to constructing hypotheses, collecting task data, correlating that data, and arriving at conclusions that either support or undermine the given hypothesis. And when I spoke to that scientist, she expressed to me doubts regarding the efficacy of high-intensity bodyweight interval training, sometimes known as the Tabata method, or Tabata method, depending on if you're, a stupid white person. Anyway, I think this is a wonderful thing to explore with all of you. First, even though I've been teaching fitness and nutrition for 30 plus years, I'm first and foremost defined as a Buddhist monk because of my bitchin' haircut and my boss robes. So here's the deal. I don't believe in belief. I find belief to be limiting. I find it is typically based in fear. It multiplies rigidity and gives birth to intolerance that leads to aggression. So I found that scenario to be inhibitive not only to spiritual growth, but to every type of interest that we have, whether we're interested in the physical or the metaphysical, whether we're interested in the hard sciences or the soft sciences, whether we're interested in recreation or cuisine, cooking. If we're seriously enthusiastic about something, if we stick with a belief-oriented paradigm, we will stifle. Whereas if we stick with a desire or a flexible, liberal-oriented paradigm, we'll continue to grow and evolve, which to me is terribly, terribly exciting. So, as I mentioned, I had been teaching fitness for numerous decades. And when I was first exposed to the Tabata paradigm, I went into full Pharisee mode and just crossed my arms and said, that's bullshit, it can't work. But there came a time when I grew dissatisfied with the results I was receiving from conventional fitness methods. And then I re-examined what's the word I'm thinking of? Anecdotal testimony, before and after pictures. And I saw some really impressive things. The thing that makes the Tabata work, the thing that makes the high-intensity body-weight interval training work is the idea of moving, one of the things that make it work is moving away from isolation exercises to compound exercises, where the muscles are working in cooperation with each other throughout the entire body, the way nature designed our bodies to function. When you look at that, you look at a compound fitness trainer versus an isolated fitness trainer, there is a huge difference in the subtle muscle structures that allow for cooperation between muscle groups. For instance, the biceps were never designed to work alone. They're supposed to work in conjunction with the rear deltoids and the lats and the rhomboids and the core and the legs. Everything was designed to work in harmony and in cooperation. So that's one of the things that really makes high-intensity body weight interval training work. Another thing is this. Running coaches have known for a long time that even if you're doing a long run, even a classical marathon, it's important to get some hill sprints in there, because for some reason it triggers muscle growth differently than long, slow, steady distance does, and it peaks our cardiovascular efficiency. It tweaks it in a way that long, slow, steady distance doesn't. So sprint training, especially hill sprint training, has already been a staple of the marathoner for quite a while. It was even featured in the comedy Run, Fat Boy, Run, which is a lot of fun, and you may enjoy renting it sometime on Netflix. And so a very famous, not famous, but at least prominent fitness trainer who advertises a lot on Facebook, forgive me, I forget his name, I have a bit of a dodgy memory, but he's an Asian fellow, very buff, very lean, and he uses the phrase afterburner effect. And that's a really fun way of describing what goes on with high-intensity bodyweight interval training. The idea is that this is not a traditional workout where you do a set and then you rest, and then you do a set and then you rest, and you're trying to make it last for 5 sets. No, your idea is to do the exercise as vigorously as you can to create a hormonal effect that is kind of like you're using the afterburners on a jet. On a jet, we use the front of the jet engine is a fan that sucks in air. The air is mixed with fuel and then compressed and then ignited, and then it leaves out the rear nozzle. In the afterburner, they say, well, there's some unspent fuel particles in the exhaust. So it reignites the exhaust, kind of like a rocket, after it leaves the rear nozzle, or as it leaves the rear nozzle. Now, if you're an engineer and I got it a little bit wrong, please forgive me. I'm not pretending to be an engineer, although I wear engineer's glasses. But the idea is that extra added oomph really accelerates the vehicle. Well, what Mike Yang, I think that's his name, Mike Yang, if I got it wrong, please forgive me, I'm not a racist, I'm just brain damaged. But what Mike Yang insists, and that his clients have observed, is by exercising deliberately for the afterburner effect, it accelerates the metabolism for a period of time greater than 24 hours, which can create a huge fat-burning momentum. There is an old paradigm that goes like this: well, fat loss is all about calories in and calories out. And that's what we call the plumbing approach, or the car engine approach. But we're not, houses. We're not indoor plumbing. We're not, hopefully, outdoor plumbing. And we're most certainly not the combustion engine. Humans are really complex. In addition to a complex neurology and a mechanical system of organs, we have a very intricate system of hormones. In fact, it could be posited that our understanding of hormones shifts significantly every decade. And one of the things we've learned, for instance, we learned about cortisol. We learned that sleep deficiency, insufficient sleep, or poor quality sleep actually create the release of hormones that hoard fat, because your body thinks there's a trauma going on, like a war or a famine or some such thing. So hormonal management is integral to helping your body to access its subtle energy storage system, or fat. Remember, fat is often our body's last defense against starvation, so it guards this energy source preciously. That's another reason why intermittent fasting can work so well. There's many schools of intermittent fasting, and by the way, my website also discusses intermittent fasting, and it can be as simple as eating having an eating window and having a non-eating window. As long as your eating window is even a little bit smaller than your non-eating window. For instance, if you fast for 12 hours and eat for 11 hours, technically that's intermittent fasting. A standard many people use is eat for 8 hours, don't eat for 16 hours. That works remarkably well for some people. Once again, I'm not a physician. There's wonderful articles and books listed, on Google and on Amazon.com, and yes, even on the website that can help you explore that. There's a wonderful website channel called The Fasting Twins, and it's definitely R-rated. It's a lot of fun, and they talk a great deal about intermittent fasting. But intermittent fasting targets, it isn't really attacking the calories. It's affecting our hormonal response to the foods we're eating. You can take two people on an identical diet, eating the exact ratio of macronutrients and the exact amount of calories, and if you put one and the exact fitness system, so everything's the same. If the only variable is one's using intermittent fasting and one's not, 9 times out of 10, the person on the intermittent fasting will have a leaner physique, a more energetic physique, which is very cool. Same thing we've noticed with the high-intensity bodyweight interval training. There is a hormonal response, especially when you combine it with intermittent fasting, but there's a hormonal response. When you do an ultra-intense workout as safely, as vigorously as you can, that hormone allows for greater fat burning for a greater length of time. So we've talked about theory. Now let's talk about personal experience. That matters the most to me. I'm an adult survivor of birth trauma brain damage. I'd like to joke and say I have enough brain damage to kill a small horse. The brain damage has affected my ability to speak clearly, my ability to hear clearly, my ability to recall. It's affected my endocrine system, and it's affected my emotions all my life. As I've gotten older, my central nervous system has degenerated, and I've developed gait loss, which is intermittent inability to walk or loss of the ability to walk correctly. I've developed motor tics, I've developed absent seizures, I've developed body tremors and tachycardia. Sometimes I tremble like a bowl full of jello in a hurricane. Without the emotional response. I can tremble when I'm happy. So I've got all these physical problems. Every morning I work out with you for approximately 8 minutes, and that's it. By midday or mid-afternoon, I often have to rely on canes to walk. So I definitely have some substantial health challenges. The good thing about that is that I'm able to observe changes in my fitness performance rather quickly. And I've noticed that when I use a whole food, plant-based, low-fat diet, I get great results. You notice when I combine the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet with intermittent fasting, I get great results. I've noticed when I've combined the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet with intermittent fasting and the afterburner effect, also known as the Tabata effect, also known as high-intensity bodyweight interval training, I get even better results. My baby sister, who's now a judge, very, very brainy woman, she used to say, "Vanity thy name." She would make fun of Shakespeare, because Shakespeare in Hamlet said, "Frailty, thy name is woman." Well, my sister said, "Oh yeah, well, take this, Shakespeare, vanity, thy name is man." Because she'd always notice that, because we're brother and sister, and she knows I was always checking myself out in the mirror, because let's face it, you watch enough James Bond movies and you start comparing yourself to Daniel Craig, at least from the chin down. So I've been, I'm vain, I'm insecure, just like everybody else, and then whenever I get naked on the way to the shower, I stop in front of the mirror and do the inspection, checking things out, and I've noticed that the combination of low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet with intermittent fasting and the high-intensity bodyweight interval training harvests dynamic results. And I share this with you absolutely free. Not because I'm this megalomaniacal fiend who wants to control everybody like marionettes. Although that was a fun Megadeth song, wasn't it? But rather, I want everyone to be as healthy and as happy and have fantastic longevity. My family, it's what you call it, chromosomal ladle was dipped in the shallow end of the gene pool, and I had the experience of watching my family members age remarkably badly. My grandfather died at a relatively young age. My grandmother died after enduring multiple strokes. She lingered, and then finally she perished as well. I've noticed my cousins age poorly. And these were people who were remarkably beautiful at one time and even had modeling careers at one time. You know, I've seen my family members age poorly. And to me, aging poorly is not just about appearance. It's about joie de vivre. It's about lucidity and clarity and happiness and slowing, if not preventing, arthritis and the degenerative disorders that often make aging into a torturous process. I share all this good stuff with you because, quite frankly, I want you to have a long life, a lucid life, a happy life, a comfortable life, a productive life. Because all those things, let's face it, are going to support one's journey on the path to enlightenment. And here's, by the way, there's no real time for reading this morning because I've done a lot of jibber-jabbering. So I shall spare you the drain upon your attention. I'm going to leave the books on the bed so the cat can read them if he gets bored during the workout. By the way, there is a myth perpetrated by corrupt Buddhist teachers who said, hey man, I'm not getting great results, therefore no one gets great results, and let's just set the expectation that enlightenment takes innumerable numbers of lifetimes to achieve. But Buddha taught that enlightenment was available within a fortnight of correct practice. So if done correctly, the journey to enlightenment is fun and quick and easy and playful. Buddha was raised in the warrior caste in India, so he had a lifetime supply of delicious food, plenty of exercise. And yes, he experimented with asceticism during his 7-year sojourn to enlightenment, but once he came to his senses and realized that asceticism is a trap that feeds both the pride that undermines the body's and the mind's ability to comprehend the path, his final sprint to enlightenment was relatively quick, which is pretty nice. So, whether you want to look beautiful or feel beautiful, whether you want to increase your intellectual function, your spiritual function, or your sexual function, this 5-point outline that I've been offering you, of making water your primary beverage, playing with intermittent fasting, playing with the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet, playing with body weight fitness, and using it in a high-intensity interval paradigm is an easy way to rapidly have the body, arguably, that would rival the statue of a Greek god in a very little time. We're not talking about 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day. We're talking about 4 to 12 minutes a day. That's an easy thing. The only piece of equipment I currently use are my yoga blanket and my door straps. Eventually, when I get stronger, knock on a particle board, I'll be using just my yoga mat and my tuning bar. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Cheap, easy, convenient. Anyone can fit a 4-minute or an 8-minute or a 12-minute workout into their life. this is very exciting. And so I began this explanation by saying I don't believe in belief. But what I do find empowering is acting on a developing hypothesis, acting upon that hypothesis, and noticing the results. That sounds like it smacks of the scientific process. That's because it does. So here's my challenge to you. Explore one variable at a time. Keep your diet the way it is now, and just notice the effect of exercise on your physique. On day one, weigh yourself and measure the bulges of your body. For instance, the belly of your calf, the thickest point of your thigh, the thickest point of your hips, your waist at your navel, your bust or your chest at your nipples, your shoulders at their widest point, and yes, even your neck. Take measurements there. Write them down in a safe place, i.e. a journal. Don't weigh yourself. Don't take measurements for 100 days. After 100 days of playing with these workouts, weigh yourself again and measure yourself again. And if you're really smart, you would have taken a photograph on day 0 and a photograph on day 100 and compare them. Do you notice a diminishment in obvious fat? Do you notice an increase in muscle firmness and toneness? Then this, when you do, then you'll say, oh, this really does work. And then you can spend the next 100 days exploring what happens when you apply or implement the low-fat, whole-food, plant-based diet. And then you can spend the next 100 days experimenting with what results you get when you apply with eating for 8 hours, not eating for 16 hours, or eating for 4 hours, not eating for 20 hours, or intermittent fasting. So I'm not asking for belief. What I'm asking for is intelligent and enthusiastic participation in the scientific process. So I have assailed you with my jibber-jabbering for 22 minutes. Assuming you've survived such an onslaught, I now invite you to work out. Oh, I guess I should remind you of this. If this is your first time watching me work out, then draw your attention to place about 3 inches below the video. There's a little button that reads Show More. When you click it, it reveals a list of links as long as my arm. Those links take you to free resources that answer all your questions about nutrition, intermittent fasting, warming up, exercising, how to sit, how to count the creases on your hands, and of course, how to meditate. One of the first links you'll find is a link to take you to a page on my website where you can find all these Enlightened fitness videos listed. First, they're organized by length of meditation. There's a box for 10 minutes, a box for 2-minute workouts, a box for 3-minute workouts, and so forth. Within each box, the Enlightened fitness videos are organized by length of meditation. So start off with a 3-minute meditation. When you're comfortable, graduate to a 6-minute meditation. When you're comfortable with that, graduate to a 9-minute meditation, and you get the idea. So, folks, let's set ourselves up for success. Woof. Woof. Okay, my friends, come let us warm up together by using 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-phase sun salutation. cat is looking at me with an expression that seems to say, clearly you have lost your mind. Okay, welcome to high intensity body weight interval training. This morning, let's use 5 exercises for 5 circuits for a total of 25 repetitions or 25 sets. By the way, this particular paradigm of using the same exercises every day is not for bodybuilding, it's for strength training. Now there is a fringe benefit of toning, increasing your muscles, and even increasing their size, but the emphasis is on strength. If you want to change this emphasis to a bodybuilding emphasis, you do 25 repetitions of the same body part every day. So on day 1 you'll do legs, day 2 you'll do core, day 3 you'll do pressing, day 4 you'll do pulling, and then on day 5 you repeat the process. If that's the way you do it, you will make huge mass gains. I don't do that because, quite frankly, I don't want to gain extra weight, even muscle weight, that'll put a burden on my joints, my connective tissue, or my organs. I'd rather focus on cardiovascular strength and physical strength than physical size. I really kind of like the idea of the Spartans in 300. That idea that your fitness is functional. Having said that, let's do the first set of heel squats. Toe squats. You might be fitter than me, and you might have to do more than 4 jumping squats. That's how many I'm doing. You might have to do 8 or 12. First set of piking presses. They're piking because your ass is in the air like you just don't care. But if this is too hard for you, remember, there are links to take you to easier exercises. If this is too easy for you, there are links to take you to more difficult exercises. First set of core thrusts. Remember, the test of this being high intensity is that when you're done, you are out of breath and schwitzing like a racehorse. First set of chins. Second heel. Second toe. Oy vey. Second press. Second thrust. On the internet, on YouTube, there are these two channels I know of where people use high intensity interval training. And they are beautiful, beautiful fitness models. They also have professional video crew to follow them around, where I have a webcam and my neighbor's cat. I love the movie Troy. In it, Brad Pitt looks awesome, but Brad Pitt is only photographed from flattering angles. And folks, we have more unflattering angles than flattering ones. Third, heels. Third, toes. Third, press. Third thrust. Now, did Brad Pitt or Daniel Craig use bodyweight fitness? Most likely not. But we use bodyweight fitness because it's easy, it's cheap, it's convenient, and it's sustainable. Our goal is not to look beautiful for a movie and then abandon fitness. Our goal is to be fit for numerous decades. Third, shin. Fourth, heel. Heel squats and toe squats work different muscles, or at least emphasize different muscles. Fourth, toes. Fourth, press. Fourth thrust. Fourth chin. Fifth and final circuit. Whew. Fifth heel. Fifth toe. Whew. Fifth thrust. Fifth chin. That concludes this morning's high-intensity bodyweight interval training. I'd like to take a moment to move the yoga blanket, which is comprised of natural fibers, emits no toxins, and can easily be put in one's washer. But now one's dryer, lest it shrink. So if you're not out of breath, and you're not staggering around like you would fail a field sobriety test, and you're not sweating buckets, then there's a good chance you weren't using a sufficient degree of intensity. That might mean pushing yourself harder during the reps, or that might mean doing more reps faster. Remember, this is a sprint. This is not a long, slow, steady event. So push yourself as hard as you safely can. Pretty close to 80 to 85% of maximal effort. Now that's going to take some guesswork, so be patient with yourself and try not to get yourself caught up in perfectionistic anxiety. Woof. Okay. Yesterday's guided meditation. Each technique was approximately 3 minutes for a total of 27 minutes. Today's will be closer to 30 minutes. Once again, if you're super ambitious and you want to sit down with a steno pad and a pen and just write down the actual contemplative notation whilst ignoring the explanation, that could be in your best interest. At the very least, it's good brain training. At least that's what the cat tells me. What do I know? So please, sit erect. Find a sitting posture that's comfortable for you. Actually find 2 postures that you can switch back and forth from, because fatigue will happen. And I'm not one of those sadists who's going to ask you to let your feet fall asleep so that you can experience excruciating pain when you're done meditating. I'm a hedonist, and I want my meditation and your meditation to be as pleasurable as possible. And guys, just as a 30-minute meditation is longer than the 3-minute meditation, it's also deeper. The longer you sit in meditation, the deeper you go. And so changing your leg position every 6 minutes or every 12 minutes is not a significant hindrance, especially when you get really comfortable with meditation and you sit for 36 minutes or 48 minutes or 60 minutes or 90 minutes or 120 minutes. When you get to that point, little things like moving your legs are simply not going to bother you. Because our goal is to play hide and seek with our neurotransmitters. Our goal is to simply master Buddhist techniques of wisdom, peace, love, and joy. It'll help us to become the happy campers, completely spectacular people that our dogs already think we are. It has been said, men, that there are 2 days of note in any relationship with a woman. The day when in her eyes you can do no wrong, and the day when in her eyes you can do no right. Now, clearly this is a subjective experience. We're most likely the same person. But wouldn't it be cool if we could become the person our new infatuated lover thinks we are? That super spectacular, awesome person. That is one of the French benefits of efficient meditation upon Buddha's path. Which is completely different than Lao Tzu's path for Taoism or Patanjali's path in yoga. I'm not saying they're bad paths, I'm saying they're different paths with different techniques for different results. If anyone closes their eyes, lifts their chin and says all paths are the same, they're telling themselves a convenient lie. Not all paths are the same, not all techniques are the same, not all results are the same. It's kind of like a recipe book. To get out a recipe book and say, oh, all these recipes are the same, they have ingredients and procedures. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Yes, it does, because there's a big fat difference between a strawberry shortcake and a bowl of guacamole. They both have recipes, they both have ingredients, they both have procedures, but with radically different results. So, if you don't want to have ice cream on top of your guacamole, and you'd rather put it upon your strawberry shortcake, choose your recipe with great care, and also your spiritual path. As Lily Tomlin said during a laugh-in the early 70s, And that's the truth. Please sit erect. Please place your left hand palm up in your lap. Please place your right hand palm up in your left. Thumb tips do not touch each other, but you can do crease counting if you wish, if you've seen the video. We're going to begin with our centering exercises. The first centering exercise is going to be the distinctly Buddhist version of alternate nostril breathing. In through left, out through right. In through right, out through left. In through both, out through both. In through left, out through right. In through right, out through left. In through both, out through both. Let's switch to the one syllable paradigm. Left, right. Right, left. Both, both. We're now going to switch to the second centering exercise, Po-Wa's rehearsal of the transference of consciousness at the moment of one's death. Let's begin by turning our attention to universal love. Give to each great rebirth. Now turning our attention upon ourselves and our own needs. Great rebirth, out through crown. Then we're going to do the Anu Yoga version, which I like to call metaphysical plumbing. Wear crown wheel, releasing. I'm sorry, wear crown Om, releasing. We're going to reduce that to a 3-syllable paradigm. Om, free. Now we're going to switch to the very concise version of the unit of awareness and letting go. Noticing, relaxing. And now it's, with a simple version, this ease. Let's switch gears to our third centering exercise, our simplified version of Guru Yoga. Thanks for what? Releasing. Thanks, teacher. Releasing. Where heart whom releasing. One syllable paradigm, whom free. Once again, we're going to play with the essentialized version of awareness and letting go, noticing, relaxing. This ease. That tone lets me know my minute is ready. Yum, yum, yum. Now, let's play with the physiological adjustments that helps you swing wide the doors to greater bliss. Let's begin with wide pull ahead, releasing. Let's try this again. How long breath, jaw relax. Where tongue tip, releasing. Why grin now? Releasing. Yes, the falling asleep of one's legs can be inevitable. However, it can be postponed through proper weight distribution. If you're leaning forward, your legs are going to fall asleep faster. If your weight's on your tuchus, your tush, your ass, your butt, your glutes, your legs will fall asleep slower. we've finished our 4 centering exercises. Now let's walk through the doors of the long rim. First of all, a long rim topic that we're going to review is renunciation that we explored in some depth yesterday. Now, yesterday we explored renunciation generically. Today we're going to explore it specifically. So we're going to ask the rhetorical and assumptive question, how fear not satisfy? Noticing we're not asking, does fear fail to satisfy? We're asking, how fear fails, or how fear not satisfy. The assumption is that it does not satisfy. We're just looking for reasons in which it does not, or ways in which it does not satisfy. And so our inner mind is going to be looking for these examples of how it does not, how it utterly fails to satisfy, and that'll be reinforcing our experience that fear fails to satisfy. Now, that might sound like a big, fat, blatant no duh, but on some level we tend to cling to fear as if it was really fun and groovy. And the quicker we're able to say, hey, fear kind of sucks, the easier it will be for us to let go of that bastard. Yes, kitty cat. So here we go. How fear not satisfy. Why turn from suffering's cause? how karma be quite just. How this chance be precious. That's the cliffhanger. Well, what's so precious about this chance? Today we're going to find out. Today's new stuff is the union of compassion and love. We simply put, compassion intends or wills to take away someone's sufferings and the causes of those sufferings. So we say that compassion takes. So the first thing we're going to do is play with something I like to call mental gymnastics. A fundamentalist would say what I'm about to say is dogma and you must believe it. But I'm a liberal and I say no, no, no. What you're about to explore is just that, a mental exercise, a thought experiment. The older particle physicists used to say, just a thought experiment to explore various possibilities. Now, we can say, hey man, why should I intend to take away other people's sufferings? Other people can be bastards, and I want them to suffer. In fact, I want to multiply their sufferings because they're not suffering sufficiently. Deny it all you want, we've all felt that way at one time or another. We've looked at someone and said, they're not suffering enough for the likes of me. Kitty cat sometimes feels that way about mice, so he just eats them, don't you? It's very funny that a vegan would have a carnivorous pet, or at least a carnivorous quadruped companion. Anywho, let's continue. So we explore the possibility that we might have had numerous lives. We're not saying it's a certitude. We're not saying we can prove it. We're not saying it's dogma to be believed. We're saying it's a possibility to be explored. We could have had previous lives. If we have had previous lives, in each life, we've taken rebirth, or we've taken birth. And if we've taken birth, then, assuming that we were a human, a biped, carbon-based mammal, then guess what? We had a mama and a dada. Now, even if your mom was a few notches short of Carol Brady, probably a good chance she didn't try to murder you. That when your nappies were full, she changed your diapers and gave you a bath. And when you were hungry, she gave you food. Now, is this a certitude? No. Is it a possibility to explore? Yes. That we could have had so let's break this down. We could have had innumerable previous lives, which means we could have had innumerable past mothers, which could mean each of those mothers could have been kind, so we could have had innumerable kind previous mothers. How many living beings are alive now? Well, that number is innumerable. So, using Buddhist philosophical mathematics, we'd say, therefore, every living being could have taken a turn at being one of our kind previous mothers. This is not logic. This is not a proof found in geometry. This is just a thought experiment. We're exploring the possibility. Now, ask any honest teenager, ask any honest child, and they say, I love my mama. And ask any honest adolescent, and they'll say, my mama makes me angry. She's just evil, 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 and stupid. Then ask any 20-something and say, my parents must have been brilliant. Oh my goodness, how did they survive in this world? So clearly, as we age, our opinion of our mothers changes. All of us have had negative feelings towards our mothers. All of us have had positive feelings towards our mothers. This doesn't make us good or bad, it simply is. But what we are doing in this thought experiment is we're playing with something that's called the transitive property of equality. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. What we're trying to do is transfer our sentimentality towards others. When I think about sentimentality, I think about Star Trek, the original series. I think about Dr. McCoy, who's always, laughing and smiling or being cranky or a curmudgeon. Whatever he felt it strongly and verbosely. He was not subtle about what he felt. What we're trying to do in this following thought experiment is use the natural, spontaneous sentimentality we all have to a certain degree for our own mothers and use it to help us feel sentimental towards others so that we'll be more prone, less likely to wish them pain and suffering, and more likely to at least intend or wish to take away their suffering. Obviously, we want eventually our wishes to take away their suffering to translate into actual actions and behaviors, but it begins with the intention. Atisha, the Bengali prince, became a monk who brought Buddhism to Tibet during its Dharmic Renaissance. It's famous for insisting that when it comes to compassion and love, it's the intention that matters most. If the intention is strong enough, the actions will take care of themselves. Now, for the actual wording. How could each be kind mom? Now, the assumption is that every living being could have had a chance of taking a turn to be a kind mother in a previous life. The action is, what are some of the ways this could have happened? So we're using our inner mind and its creativity to just play in a manner that reinforces the possibility that maybe there's at least one, if not many, reasons for us to feel sentimental towards other people, even if they are temporarily acting like evil, bloodthirsty bastards that make, I don't know, Darth Vader look like a Girl Scout. At least I make myself laugh. Okay. How could each be kind mom? And now we explore the compassion. Why take fear as black smoke? We're playing with fear because fear is a common human experience. We've all experienced fear, and none of us ever said, oh, this fear is yummy, yum-bo. Give me more of that fear with a sprinkling of terror. Yum, yum, get enough of that anxiety. No one's ever said that. all of us say the same thing. Yuck! Fear sucks! So if it sucks for me, guess what? It sucks for you. And if it sucks for you, guess what? It sucks for everyone else. So what we're doing is we're taking our selfish aversion, our selfish aversion for fear, our selfish hatred of fear, and we're converting it into universal compassion that seeks to rescue people from fear and its causes. Our selfish aversion, our selfish hatred, is kind of like an umbrella that's closed. Our universal compassion is kind of like an umbrella that's open. So we're using the momentum of our own selfishness to feed our universal compassion for all others, which is quite the delicious irony. So we're asking, the very fact that we're asking, why take fear, means that the assumption is we do have the ability to desire to take away other people's fear, no less the ability to actually take away others' fear. We're also assuming that that part of our mind has the capacity to visualize, and could have visualized that nasty, yucky anxiety as black, billowing smoke. Something that we all have a natural aversion for, since it makes us, cough and wheeze. Now you could say, wait a minute, I don't want to take away other people's fear. I got enough of my own. My warehouse is full. But what if, here's a possibility to play with, what if, karmically speaking, taking away someone else's fear, the act of compassion, could purify our negative karma? What if it could increase our good karma, so much so that it made even the imaginary taking away of other people's sufferings as billowing black smoke safe and even beneficial? So let's play with this idea now. Why take fear as black smoke? Well, we talked about how compassion, so we used sentimentality to help us feel compassion for the people in our life who can occasionally be bastards. And we used Star Trek, the original series, as an example of sentimentality when looking at Dr. McCoy. Well, if Dr. McCoy stood to Captain Kirk's right, then Mr. Spock stood to Captain Kirk's left. And he was the opposite of McCoy. He was the paradigm of cold, cool, precise logic. So that's what we're going to use now. We're going to use a live form of logic, a thought experiment in the form of logic, to help us overcome our self-importance, our self-infatuation, that can often stand as a roadblock to our love and compassion for others. And this relies on a rudimentary understanding of math. How many of me are there? One. How many of every other living being on this world and all of the worlds are there? Considerably more than one. Therefore, mathematically speaking, the number of living beings is considerably greater than the number of me. Mathematically speaking, it could be argued that the needs of the innumerable infinity of living beings is far greater mathematically than my own paltry, insignificant needs. This is a wonderful tool to drown self-importance in the waters of logic. Now, This is not dogma to be believed. Rigidity that comes from belief hobbles us upon the spiritual path. No, this is merely a thought experiment, a possibility to be explored. So let's do that right now. How are all more than me? Now we're going to get to love. Love is the opposite of compassion. Compassion notices people's sufferings and its causes, if not their potential sufferings and their causes, and longs to take it away or intends to take it away. And love sees people's needs and wants to fill them, wants to give them what they require, wants to give them love and peace and joy and wisdom and all that is required for them to be healthy and happy and all that kind of good stuff. Compassion takes, love gives. There's one thing you learn from today's lesson. I hope it's that. Taking and giving can be translated from the Tibetan as Tong Len. So in the future you'll hear me referring to this as Tong Len's union of compassion and love. So we're going to play with the contemplation that says, why give peace as white light? We're choosing peace because it's arguably the opposite of fear. No one's ever said, damn it, I got too much peace. What I need is some anxiety. No one has ever said that. Or, to use the internet meme, damn it, I've got too much peace, said no one ever. Okay. So, why give peace assumes that, number one, we could desire to give people peace. Number two, we could have the ability to give people peace, and we do have the ability on some level in our mind or subconscious mind to visualize that peace leaving our body as dazzling white light. Light is inert, where smoke is a carcinogen. White is arguably the opposite of black when it comes to color. And so we're treating love as the opposite of compassion. And let's play with this right now. Once again, you can say, wait, Lama Jigme. You asked me from the past, what's your question? Hey, Lama Jigme, I'm a selfish bastard. I don't want to give people peace. I want to keep all the peace for myself. Hey, if I give people peace, won't I run out of peace? That would really suck. Hey, me from the future, I've got another question. What if I don't have peace to give? What if I'm just a miserable bastard who's so sad and fearful he has no peace to give anybody else? Thank you, me from the past. That's an excellent question. So here's the answer. The very fact of indulging the intention to give people peace, what if that could create the good karma? Or it could purify the bad karma that would reduce our peace and increase our good karma to experience peace. No less increase our good karma to give people peace. What if karma was just an energy function, like a sine wave? The negative karma takes away stuff, that takes away pleasure and gives pain. The good, and of course makes us inert and impotent, metaphorically speaking. Whereas the upper or positive side of the sine wave, the good karma, gives us pleasure and gives us peace and gives us happiness and good things and the ability to do good things for others. What if the ability to generate, to purify bad karma and to increase good karma was as easy as generating compassion and love? That would be cool. Once again, this is not dogma to be believed, but a thought experiment, a possibility to be explored. Why give love as white light? Well, we've talked about love, compassion, and we've talked about love. We've talked about fear, and we've talked about peace. We've talked about black billowing smoke and white bliss-inducing light. So basically, we've talked about dichotomies, opposites, which is quite lovely. And in not this exercise, but the next exercise, we're going to put all that imagery together. But we're going to, as a preparatory practice, we're going to focus first on our nostrils and our pores. Taking just a few moments to do that sets us up for greater success and ease of meditation. That's right, Lama Jigme is trying to make sure that you have the most successful contemplative experience you can. So, on the in-breath, we're going to mentally recite in nostrils, on the out-breath, out through pores. The inference is that we're breathing in through our nostrils and that we're breathing out through our pores. The fact is, you can't breathe out through your pores. If you try to do so, you'll stroke out, tip over, and frighten the poor cat. But you can imagine it, and it will, the idea, the very intention that we can breathe in through our nostrils and breathe out through our pores will support the next contemplation. So let's play with this right now. And no, you're not going to do it perfectly, and that's okay. You're just playing with the general intention, not to be confused with the major intention or the corporal intention. Okay. In through nose, out through pores. Now we put it together. Take fear smoke, and the inference is it's coming in through your nose. Give peace light, and the inference is it's leaving through your 64,000 skin pores in 64,000 directions to comprise an orb, a sphere of peace-inducing light that fills the universe and lavishes all living beings in this universe and all other universes with great peace. The greater the number of living beings that you include in your intention, your compassion intention and your loving intention, the greater your current purification and your increase of good karma. Or so the teachings tell us. If it's not dogma, at least it's a really fun possibility to explore. Take fear smoke, give peace light. Now we're going to take this whole idea, this whole stew of ideas, and condense it down to just one syllable on the in-breath and one syllable on the out-breath, what I like to call the one-syllable paradigm, or paradigm, depending on your reading skills. So, fear, peace. Here we go. In Tibet, there are 4 major sects and 1 minor sect. The 2 of the major sects, the Nyingmas and the Kargyus, or the Kagyus, or the Kajus, depending on how you want to pronounce it, prefer to call this Tonglen. The Gelags and the Sakyas prefer to call this Lo Zhang. Tonglen meaning taking and giving, and Lo Zhang meaning mind training. Tamada, let's call the whole thing off. So sometimes I'll refer to this as Tonglen, sometimes I'll refer to this as Lo Zhang, sometimes I'll refer to this as the union of compassion and love. Now, me from the past could raise his hand and say, hey Lama Jigme, you forgot the union of analysis and letting go. And I'd pat him on the head and say, no, me from the past. We're going to practice it right now. Now we're going to apply it to whatever remnants of anxiety we are currently experiencing. Anxiety, fear, terror, it's all the same thing. How is fear dependent? How could fear never last? How could fear not be me? How could fear be funny? By the way, if you're concerned, if you find yourself obsessing over when your breath should begin and when it should end, just do it musically, just do it rhythmically. It's better to start off with contrived breathing that eventually becomes spontaneous breathing than to just completely become shipwrecked by our over-obsession over the trivial. So, rhythmically, breathe generously. Grin with lips, releasing. Noticing, relaxing. This ease. If you're having trouble keeping your weight off your legs and on your tush, the angle of your head, the position of your neck, can influence that. This ease. Now, Anapanasati's mindfulness with breathing. How long breath? Releasing. Again, how long breath? Releasing. One syllable paradigm, breath free. So since we've been exploring the dichotomy of fear and peace, let's now practice the metta, the loving kindness that longs to lavish everyone with great peace. How peace good? Releasing. How peace feel? Releasing. Once again, it's a question of the imagination, and the inner mind will answer it. It's purely rhetorical. How peace feel? Releasing. Now to me, give great peace. Now to some, give great peace. Now to all, give great peace. Now to each, give great peace. Each peace. And for our last set, Vipassana is awareness and letting go. What's seeing, really seeing, eyes closed. You might see dots or shapes or memories or fantasies. Don't worry about it. Let the brain take care of itself. What's seeing, really seeing. What hearing, releasing. What feeling, releasing. How could this be funny? Grin with cheeks, releasing. Noticing, relaxing. This ease. That concludes this morning's guided meditation. If you were to you take a steno pad and a pen and jot down just the contemplative notation without writing down my explanations or layman's jokes, you'd have a set of exercises that would take you approximately 30 minutes to complete. Boy, does this cat have me trained or what? Gesundheit, little cat. Apparently the cat speaks Yiddish. So now I invite you to join me for a gentle set of geriatric yoga we call untying the heart's knots or scratching the cat's belly, whichever you prefer. Please move the water before you spill it and wear it. That would be lovely. Moving it, not wearing it. Okay. Please sit erect and lace your hands behind your tuchus. Please open your chest and twist to the left. Why give wise, releasing. Please reverse. Now to each give wisdom. Back to center. Please release the hands. Join them in the laps. Swing them out and overhead. Please bend to the left. Why give peace, releasing. Reverse. Now to each give great peace. Back to center. Okay. Let's make our way into downward facing fetal position, which is of course also known as child's pose. Give to all, love for each. Curl your fingers into fists, set your knuckles upon the yoga blanket above your knees as if you're going to punch. Rapidly straighten your arms and ride the momentum into the seated samurai position, which is of course also known as lion's pose. I'm going to guess it's something similar to Simasana, but I'm not going to say for sure because I am a dreadful linguist. As opposed to a cunnilingus, that's completely different. So, place your hands behind your tush. Open your chest. Drop your head, roll your gaze up. What seeing, really seeing. What hearing, really seeing. What feeling, really seeing. Please release the hands. Please cup your palms. Gently press your hands together in front so that the center of your palms are hovering before the upper third of your chest. Please use your hands to twist to the left. Whoops. Relax your shoulders down. Now twist to the left. Why give joy? Releasing. Back to center. Relax your shoulders down. Use your hands to twist to the right. Now to each give great joy. Back to the center. Relax your shoulders down. Please make your way into the hands and knees posture in preparation for cat-cow asana. Open mouth, slack jaw. Now to each give comfort. Please stand up and place all your weight upon the major and minor ball of each foot behind the big and little toe. Heels off the ground, try not to fall on your face. Subtle bend in your knees, hips thrust forward, hands laced behind the tuchus, chest open, head dropped, gaze rolled up. How could this be funny? Grin with eyes, releasing. Of course, that means making crow's feet. Doesn't refer to actually making your eyes smile like some sort of a creature featured in Men in Black. That would be really frightening. Okay. Noticing, relaxing. Please release the hands. Let's perform the final 3 verbal recitations, which can be found at the end of every lesson in the free PDF entitled First Set of Lesson Texts, which you can download from the class materials page using the appropriate link that you'll find below the video. Indian inspired 12 phase sun salutations. By this virtue may I now accomplish the spontaneous, habitual, easy and effective mastery of Buddhist mental yogas, of wisdom, peace, love, and joy, and now lead every living being, without exception, to this ground. May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish everything in this life. And then help many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. Let's conclude with 2 repetitions of Vietnamese-inspired bows. May I always be cared for throughout all my lives by the Buddha of compassion, emanating as my kind teacher. And as such, may I always enthusiastically and joyfully tread this excellent path praised by the conquerors. Well, my friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. I thank you for your enthusiasm to meditate twice a day, every day, and as well as your kind support. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Before you go, I'd like to invite you to find the subscribe button, give that a click, and to find the like button as well as the share button. I'm done jabbering my jaw. I invite you to find the YouTube button at the very upper right hand corner, beyond the upper right hand corner. That'll take you to your personal home page. Towards the bottom left hand corner, you'll find a tab that says something along the lines of Manage Subscriptions. Give that a click. Look up either Lama, Jigme, or Tantric Sex God 1, and click the box that will allow you to receive an email notification the next time I upload a video. Remember those links I told you about below the video? Well, you could use one of them to help support this monk, keep him fed. That would be beautiful, but it's not mandatory. And of course, you can use another link to register for the next series of live weekly webinars that begin Monday, the 6th of May. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.